Fan films, perhaps one of the most easily dismissed and underrated forms of filmmaking. Oftentimes, these projects get passed off as cheap imitations of Hollywood productions such as Batman, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, The Matrix, and the list goes on. At a glance, it's easy to determine why these projects get such a bad rap at times. Popular videos like the Star Wars Kid and other similar parodies are not meant to be serious adaptations and are often a poor representation of the genre as a whole. Upon closer inspection, however, one can determine that appearances are often deceiving. Let's start with the basics. Just what is a fan film? Since no Webster definition is available, one could call a fan film a film or video inspired by a movie, television show, comic book, or a similar source, created by fans rather than by the source's copyright holders or creators. Fan films can be based on just about any existing story or theme. However, the most popular ones are usually adapted from movies or television shows. There are literally dozens of websites dedicated to showcasing these projects, with popular ones like fanfilms.com being updated on a weekly or even daily basis. As for the history of fan films, one can only assume that people have been exploring their favorite entertainment genres since the original work itself was released. Some significant fan-produced releases in various genres are Hardware Wars, created in 1977, is quite possibly the first Star Wars fan film ever. Using common appliances and great imagination, this film has been recognized around the world as both a leap for independent production and fan-based works alike. Beginning in 1982, three 12-year-old boys began the monumental task of creating a shot-by-shot remake of Indiana Jones, which they entitled Raiders of the Lost Ark: The Adaptation. 7 years later, they completed the project and screened it for a small local audience. Later, they received a personal letter from Steven Spielberg commending them on their work. Troops, originally released in 1997, was a forerunner in the Star Wars genre to gain a major following online. The film generated a lot of interest for more than just Star Wars fan films, and to this day still inspires and entertains both the media-savvy and the everyday enthusiast. In 2001, Duality flew onto computer screens all over the world. This short film was made by a very small gathering of people, and yet again impacted the way fan-based projects were presented by gaining attention from websites such as Apple.com and Entertainment Weekly. Even a parody of the film was created and is available for download at theforce.net. The 2002 release, Broken Allegiance, was very successful and received a lot of local media coverage as well as a great turnout for the premiere at a movie theater in Australia. This project was brought to life by many filmmakers and craftsmen that came together and produced an attention-grabbing film. An entertaining look into the realm of Indiana Jones was created in the 2002 release Doom Raiders. The costumes, locations, and performance of the talent is both accurate to the films it emulates and a lot of fun to watch. Batman Dead End was released in 2003 and remains one of the most visually stunning and realistic films in that genre. Sandy Cholera is a professional director, writer, artist, and designer, and was able to display his prowess in all of those areas while creating this short film. Also from Cholera Studios came World's Finest in 2004. This project was yet another amazing example of how industry professionals can put their skills to use in the fan film genre, and contains perhaps the most authentic costumes since the original television shows and movies. Perhaps one of the most successful examples of large releases is the film Star Wars Revelations, directed by Shane Felix. In May of 2005, the film premiered at a theater in Baltimore with over 900 people in attendance from around the globe. To date, the film has been downloaded several million times, with a cast and crew appearing on numerous TV shows, online spotlights, radio interviews, and more. There are many significant releases that weren't able to be included in this video, such as The Formula, Star Wars Pathways, Tidarium, Pink 5, Sith Apprentice, Batman Dracula, Matrix Jedi, Brains vs. Steel, Star Wars Perdition, Star Wars Assimation, Starship Exeter, Grayson, and more. You can research these projects with a few quick web searches, and I highly recommend taking a look at all of them. As you can see from the previous examples, the fan film genre is one that can be explored regardless of career choice or specific film interests. Anyone who can hold a camera, and even a few people who can't, can apply what they know to a project if it interests them. With the ever-increasing amount of freeware and the consistently decreasing cost of hardware, it's easier for anyone to jump into the world of filmmaking than ever before. What about distribution? Once a film has been completed, how do people get the word out? One obvious way is to simply gather some friends and show them in person, but the real exposure comes when the films hit the internet. Many will create their own websites to host their projects, and others will turn to larger collaborations of fans such as the fan film section of theforce.net. An exciting side of releases and distribution is when a film does extremely well and is viewed by hundreds, thousands, or even millions of viewers in a short amount of time. Being viewed many times doesn't make it a great film, but it's always exciting to see a greatly anticipated release finally make its way to completion. One good bit of news for Star Wars fans are events like the official Star Wars Fan Film Awards hosted by Atom Films. This annual gathering of films and projects have not only been allowed by, but voted on personally by George Lucas. This of course opens up a huge number of opportunities for those that feel their project is up to the competition this contest brings. More information on this can be found at the end of this video. If you've never been involved in the making of a fan film, or even if you have, you've probably wondered why people would go to such great lengths for something they can't sell. For some, it's the love of the craft, and for others, it's just a good way to relive and expound upon a lot of the original feelings and imaginations they had when they first experienced their source of inspiration. For others, like Ryan Weber, it was a way to practice and learn various filmmaking and special effects techniques and put his creativity to use. Ryan first became interested in video work back in the late 90s, and as time went on, more and more people began to take note of his tests and projects. In 2003, Ryan vs. Dorkman made its way to the first place position in a choreography competition held at the TFN Fan Film Forums. The clip has since been viewed hundreds of thousands of times on popular entertainment sites such as YouTube, eBaum's World, and a host of other locations. I spoke with Ryan and asked him if he'd be willing to personally share a few thoughts and recollections about some of the experiences during that period of his life.
Well, for me, my work on fan film related visual effects clips and Ryan vs. Dorkman definitely had a big payoff for me. In the case of Ryan vs. Dorkman, for several months after it was released, it didn't get a whole lot of attention outside of the fan film community that it was made for. But after that, the senior effects artist over at LucasArts, the video games company, was doing a Google search on lightsabers or something like that, and he came across RVD and checked it out and thought it was really great, and looked me up and found my site where I have just a plethora of visual effects tests I've done over the years, including a lot of lightsaber stuff. And he was really impressed by that and decided to get in contact with me, emailed me, and asked what I was up to. I was going to school. What's going on? Am I interested in doing this as a real profession? And I said, yes, of course. The only reason I'm in college doing general education is so I can hopefully transfer to film school and then hopefully work on film production, something like that. So we met up, went out to Skywalker Ranch for lunch, and got the nickel tour of LucasArts, and met everybody, shook hands, and they encouraged me to officially apply and have a real interview and everything like that, which we did, and went really successfully, and I was hired on. So I worked there for about a year as a visual effects artist, working on both in-game visual effects, particle systems, on-the-fly, real-time, things like that, and then also a lot of compositing work for pre-rendered things such as the cutscenes between gameplay in Knights of the Old Republic 2. And so that was a great experience, and after my time there I took a few months off, and then with a lot of that work on my reel as well as a lot of my old visual effects tests and Ryan vs. Dorkman, I had a pretty solid reel which I was able to show around, and then eventually got the job at Stargate Digital in Los Angeles, where I now composite for HD television shows and the occasional feature and commercial, stuff like that. And so that job is really made possible thanks to my time at LucasArts, which is really thanks to my work on fan films that was online and got me noticed and opened that first door for me.
While Ryan's story isn't one you hear every day, there are a few collections of similar success tales hosted on various fan film websites. It's amazing to see all the various opportunities work on fan films has provided for people, and I encourage you to check out the links to these sites by visiting the resource at the end of this feature. Another advantage of working with fan films is the network of people and locations where your work can be seen. The fully working R2-D2, created for Kirk Pennell's R2 the Extra Special Astromech, was put on display at Celebration 3, which is perhaps the largest gathering of Star Wars fans in the world. After their film was shown at the event, Kirk had a chance to personally hand a DVD of the project to George Lucas. This sort of situation would have never occurred had their project not been one of the many features on display that year, and the experience is one he'll be able to reflect on for a long time. So where's the fan film craft headed? What's in store for the future of these projects? It's safe to say that people will continue to creatively explore their favorite entertainment genres for years to come, and large-scale websites such as fanfilms.com are among some of the best resources and gathering places for these endeavors. FanFilm staff member Kurt Luther has an excellent 4-part series of essays on his personal observations and thoughts on the future of fan films, and I encourage you to check them out by visiting fanfilms.com or the URL at the end of this video. The bottom line, just because a project is written, directed, produced, shot, edited, animated, and completed by someone other than a Hollywood studio doesn't mean it can't look spectacular and tell a story. Whether the filmmaker is 7 years old or 107 years old, it's important to remember that they can all work hard and learn from each phase of the production process. From effects tests to feature-length presentations, the world of fan films is an exciting and energetic area that virtually anyone can both participate in and enjoy.